You're never gonna believe this, guys. I finally made a friend. Meet Crocky. See him? Isn't he adorable? Nom, 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 nom. People don't want to mess with an alligator, you know. And I think I can do anything with this guy. Whether it's, burn some plants, jump out of an airplane, I can do it all. But why do all that in person when I can do it virtually? What do you think, Crocky?
Far Cry 6 is actually the 15th game in the series. It was released for PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Stadia, and Amazon Luna. I actually played this game on PC using Ubisoft Plus or Connect or whatever it's called, I don't know, the Uplay thingy. The game is about an island named Yara, aka totally not Cuba. In charge of this island is a fascist dictator,
Giancarlo Giuseppe Alessandro L'esposito, or his in-game character Anton Castillo. And let me tell you, he steals the show.
This game tries really hard to build this world, establishing lore dating back from 1967. Anton is elected president and he finds a cure for cancer.
This guy should be hailed as a hero!
Then he begins to enslave people to work in the fields.
Maybe not.
This is where you come in. You play as Danny Rojas. You select a gender. I chose a dude because
I am one.
Apparently female Danny is actually really good, so I actually recommend picking her. Danny is overall a pretty good character, a lot more personality than anyone in the past, even sings songs on the radio. So I do think this might be going too far in the personality aspect for a first-person shooter like this. I sort of prefer Far Cry 3's character. Enough personality to have his own wants, but brain dead, idiot enough to control him and essentially be yourself. Danny goes to escape Yara, but you get caught by Castillo himself. As it turns out, his own son Diego is actually on the boat. He takes his son back and he basically sinks the boat. While you're washing up on shore, it is in this moment you have noticed that you are in third person for these cutscenes.
And I hate it!
Being in first person Far Cry games really made it feel like you were in the action. It made it feel like you. This one kind of makes it feel like you're watching a movie.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Oh, Jesus.
Not horrible, but doesn't really feel personal anymore. Far Cry was always known for a real close-up in-your-face moment.
Basically, it's a difference in style. You know how different the mood is when you're talking directly into a camera? Or someone doing a sit-down interview.
Back to the game, you find out you're the only one to survive, or the lucky one. You meet Clara, the leader, and the resistance of Libertad. She sends you to find Juan. Hey look, it's an amigo!
Hey, look, Crocky! It's your brother!
At first, Danny doesn't want to help Libertad, but after doing some missions for them, Danny starts to wonder what he should do. He then takes the boat Clara gave him for a reward, and he heads off to Miami, where Danny is seen on a beach, hearing how Clara has been killed and Castillo has gotten rid of the revolution.
I mean, what do you expect? It's Far Cry. They legitimately do this every game since Far Cry 4.
Obviously, what you're supposed to do is help. She introduces you to 3 sections of the island, just like Far Cry 5. You have to get all 3 factions on your side before you can take down
Giancarlo Giuseppe Esposito. Did I say that right yet? I'm putting that one in.
Out of these 3 factions, I didn't really enjoy 2 of them. They were largely forgettable. They're supposed to be in order that you go in, and this time, unlike 5, I actually went in the correct order. First up, the Monteros. This section was okay. I really liked Philly, and of course his dog, but the missions and the Monteros themselves are pretty boring. I can't help but feel like this was rushed. One mission you're breaking someone out of prison, the next you're getting screwed over by the same guy, and that's kind of the end of the area. Some interesting side missions in here involve cockfighting.
Look away, Crocky! I'll hide you from PETA!
And while that area wasn't great, the next was really bad. Maximus Matazas. Don't know if I said that right. It's been a minute since I actually played the game. Bicho or Paz is, well, the token character that's supposed to be loud, funny, but too scared to do anything. I can't really tell if Danny likes him or not. Well, he's trying to get rid of the radio to get people to join Tala Benevides and Palo de la Vega, a couple that are rappers, in Palo's case transgender, which he reminds you about this literally every chance he gets to. Yeah, not really into the characters here. A bunch of teenage punks that are just way too much and are absolutely annoying.
Maximus Matanzas is gonna give it to you! No one, not Castillo or Marquesa, is going to silence us!
Ironically, there's a bit of a side villain here named Bembe. Now, I hate Bembe, but you're supposed to hate Bembe. Honestly, he probably should have been a focal point of the game. He is just a great villain, albeit neutral to the resistance or Castillo's forces, but he's the guy selling slaves, doing black market deals, etc. He was interesting.
I kill guerrillas. I also kill soldiers. It's just business.
But man, this section sucked. There was a doctor here named Mateus that somehow knew Danny's name before he said it.
I need to stabilize him, Danny. Keep the soldados off my back.
and then proceeded to ask what his name was in the next cutscene.
We did good.
Danny from Libertad. You've done this before, no painkillers.
Give me a hand.
I thought that was pretty funny. So then we get to the last section, the Legends of 67 and La Morale.
Holy crap.
Now this is so much better. You really get 5 main characters or 6 main characters here. They're all interesting and has an interesting dynamic between the young rebels destroying everything and the old veterans, well, not really wanting to get involved. But El Tigre does, and eventually gets everyone else to join the youngins. This whole section is interesting. Everything from the villain in the area, McVeigh,
You hear that? Libertards?
to Hanron's chaotic nature, to El Tigre being El Tigre. He was probably my favorite character in the game. Elena is a bit like a babysitter to her clan. This mission sort of being unique. There was a choice here, and I'm not really sure what I eventually picked. I'm not really sure what changes one way or the other, but it's so weird that 3/4 of this game was awful, and the last one here was extremely good. It's like they wrote part of the script and filled the rest of the game as they went. I feel like some real life situations affected them here during development, but nonetheless, the story is absolutely horrible to the last part of the game. The last act and finale are absolutely great, though it does feel disconnected from the rest of the game. Even the Danny character, which should have a flat character arc, changes a bit, being a bit more dorky. And anything with
Say it again, don't I? Giancarlo Giuseppe Alessandro Esposito.
is really great. He has a plan, he has done his research, he can turn anything against him and spin it to make sense. I kinda like him better than Libertad. Yes, his methods are inhumane, but he has a goal, and you can see him slowly teaching his son Diego the ways of a true Yara. And yeah, I would imagine someone that cures cancer would have a bunch of growing pains on the mass production of it. Kinda how things work. You think the very first computer ever made could fit in your pocket? No, it was the size of a room and had less memory than the phone that you're probably on right now. If only he was in the game for more than about 7 cutscenes. Yes, this is the villain who hardly has any screen time.
In a Far Cry game, nonetheless.
Missions are so bland here, and they're reused. They even had the cojones to put a flamethrower burning a drug in the first few hours of the game. Seriously? They're even self-aware in how much they do this. Come on, Ubisoft.
Felt familiar.
I wonder what's up with the mission debriefing.
This was really strange, and they talk and they move and act like robots while they're in this mission debriefing screen as well.
I went back to Far Cry 4 just because, well, A, I've only beaten that game once and it took about 20 minutes, and B, I wanted to remember the old mission structure. And yeah, it's so different, it's a little jarring, even down to the way the world acts. Far Cry 6 is so weird. The story itself is pretty serious and grounded, but the world and characters around it, it's not. It doesn't really mesh well. Compared to old Far Cry games, which have a little zaniness here and there, either went completely crazy with the story, or were serious and grounded, and the wackiness was all coming up when you were hyped up on drugs or something. Another huge complaint I had about this game is how far away you start from the missions. Was it like this in 5? I honestly don't remember. But driving to a mission just to be 2,000 meters away from the actual mission is just padding in my opinion. The gameplay is largely rehashed from Far Cry 5, but they actually took some things out. There are 0 human companions in this game. And out of all the animal companions that are in the game, only 2 of them are actually worth anything, and that is Cesaro and Boom Boom. Boom Boom is quite literally Boomer from Far Cry 5. He even gets in the car, but is the only one that isn't DLC that does. The rest are just kind of worthless. They do next to no damage and they just kind of die. Even Cesaro and Boom Boom aren't too valuable, but at least you can stealth kill with them. And really, Boom Boom is good in regular combat too. The shooting feels the same, the crafting is the same, the resolvers are, well, they're kind of cool in concept, but only a nail gun is actually worth anything. Most of these actually hinder you than help you, but using the firework cannon as a gun sure sounds pretty cool. The extra weapons that you can customize are the real winner. Yes, there are some unique ones out in the wild that you can find at specific spots or at random. I'm not really sure how this crate works. Sometimes it's a gun, sometimes it's gunpowder. It's never what I want though.
Check it out. I got a box!
When you find a gun you like, you can go to a workbench and you can customize it all you want. And as a quick tip, put the armor piercing rounds in it, because they melt people with both armor and without armor. And carry around at least 1 RPG. There are a lot of helicopters in this game for whatever reason. The big gameplay update here is the Supremo, a cooldown ability that lets you do some special techniques. The only problem with this is they give you the best one in the game right from the start. There might actually be some use for the health one that gives you extra medicine and makes you faster, but this rocket launcher backpack is by far the best one. Although I do kind of miss the shovel in Far Cry 5 and the melee weapons in general. They literally had a game that was only melee weapons, and in this one they got rid of them entirely. I also feel like stealth here is just not as rewarding. I feel like the AI is just so brain dead dumb that they never know what's going on. It's like they nerfed the AI awareness into the ground. And that's about all they really added for gameplay terms. Now with things they took out. Well, the big one is skill trees. In older Far Cry games, you would level up and put a skill point in the skill tree. And in Far Cry 3, you can even see the progress on your FOV model. But in this one, all the abilities that you used to be able to unlock are now unlocked through clothing, which means once you find a combination you really like, you're pretty much set throughout the whole game. And when you mix that with a weapon that you really like, you can essentially be done growing before you even get done with the first section of the game. Doing it this way makes you really not want to play the game. You're done growing, and while it's cool to be overpowered, there has to be some limits. Maybe turn the difficulty... Oh. Yeah, there's only 2 difficulties in this game. Story and action. Story meaning you just want to play the story, and action meaning you want to play the story, but it's a little harder, just like the older games. I really don't know what they were thinking with these 2 things. Let's make the game super easy from the get-go. I guess the ammo might be harder to find. You can't just pick up weapons from enemies anymore. But what's the point when you essentially have access to everything you want from the get-go? It makes the game a cakewalk when you find the perfect combination. Unless you're just an idiot like I was throughout most of my playthrough. They do include some sort of level technique, but I think that just makes the enemies tougher. I'm not really too sure about this. Basically means everyone is more bullet spongy for your super OP weapon, and if you go in stealthy, they are pretty much one-hit kills anyway. What's the incentives if you get no real bonuses for it? And even then, the AI is so brain dead they don't even notice. There were multiple times in my playthrough where I just sprinted and shot everyone like I was in a Call of Duty game, and none of the guards said anything. Shooting alarms and going loud gets old after a while. Yes, the AI will still do some things that will get pretty chaotic. Just chill and wait at the checkpoint you just cleared, and an enemy truck will come by and start a war. But after it happens for the 30th time, it gets a little old. And sometimes they're so dumb they just stand there in the street. Also the animals, I saw like none of them. Part of the fun of these games is getting attacked randomly by wildlife, but that just kind of happens if it's scripted now. I was really disappointed by that. You can go out and hunt them in designated hunting spots, but it's just not the same. There's vehicles in the game. You can wingsuit, parachute, ride a horse. All these controls pretty decently, I think, with the exception of the auto drive mechanic. It is already a little strange and wonky as it is, but if you accelerate at all, then you're gonna fall off the auto drive train that you're on, and you'll probably end up crashing. The rest of the game controls pretty well, so no problems with that. I did find the performance of the game a little janky at times. That could just be my computer because there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, recording a webcam and gameplay with OBS plus running a game is also a lot of work. Even if I do have a 2080 Ti and a Ryzen 9 3950X, I mean, I get some weird issues here and there, but come on. Once I played with the settings, I was pretty happy overall with how this came out. For some reason, the higher the resolution scale, the better my game was running. I found a sweet spot around 1.5. Graphically, I mean, the game is okay. The pre-rendered cutscenes are nice, but this is basically a slightly better game than Far Cry 5 and New Dawn. I've gone back to play some of the other games in the series, and I really feel like the graphics peaked with 4, actually. I don't know what it is, but the best shading and light, in my opinion, which really puts it over the top, and oh, I beat Far Cry 4 again. Now, sound-wise, I actually think this game's sound direction is great. The soundtrack has things ranging from songs I've heard but fit the region very well, to unique Far Cry themed remixes, to Havana Ooh La La. And your character even sings it! I really enjoyed the sound direction for the most part of this game.
That was a roller coaster of a game. It was fun, then it was boring, then it got fun again, then it got boring again. It can definitely create some absolute chaos in the open world sandbox, and if you want a crazy sandbox to play in, and you're bored of playing Grand Theft Auto, then hey, Far Cry 6 might be kind of fun for you. At the end of the day, though, I would probably say this is one of the worst Far Cry games out there. Probably the worst Far Cry game out there. If it wasn't for Psychologist Episodio, this game just wouldn't have anything to go for it. I give Far Cry 6 a 6.4 out of 10. I think it's time for me to cancel everything I was going to do with Crocky. They just don't seem like a good time to me anymore. Where's Crocky? Crocky, no!
Thank you for watching. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe for more content. Comment down below and check the description for links such as the Discord.